Meet the richest farmer in the United States. This man made his fortune exclusively from agriculture and is listed on the Forbes billionaire list as the 76th richest person in the United States, but you might have never heard of him. This is Harry Stein, a farm boy who grew up to make billions of dollars from corn and soybean. But how did he do this? How did he make billions of dollars from just growing corn and soybean? Well, let me explain. Harry Stein was born on November 26, 1941 in Adel, Iowa, USA. He is the son of Bill and Roselba Stein. In 1871, his great-grandparents, William and Sarah Stein, arrived in Adel, Iowa from Pennsylvania and established a 160-acre farm. In 1894, his grandfather, Ira Cloyd Stein, married Lyda Schaefer, and they had 4 children who joined forces and formed together as I.C. Stein and Sons until shortly after World War II. By the 1930s, Bill and Roselba Stein moved to the location where Stein Seed Farm would eventually be located. Upon settling at their new location, they would face difficulties as extreme droughts in 1934 and 1936 made farming almost impossible. In the 1950s, Bill Stein founded Stein Seed Farm, cleaning certified oats and public variety soybean seeds with a portable cleaner. Growing up in a family that was deeply involved in farming helped to shape Harry Stein's passion for agriculture, and he would eventually go on to study agronomy at Iowa State University, graduating in 1964. After graduating, Harry Stein would join his father, Bill Stein, in the soybean cleaning business, and it was here Stein's interest in agribusiness would slowly develop. Harry Stein's interest in seed breeding started when he found some unusual soybean plants in one of his company's fields. He realized the value and profit that could be gained by developing and growing newer, higher-yielding soybean varieties. While yield-checking his soybean lines, he came to the realization what the introduction of a conventional breeding program could bring to the soybean industry and growers. At the time, breeding and developing new varieties was only done by universities, and so Stein started his own soybean breeding program called Improved Variety Research. The company was the first private soybean research and development company in the United States. Improved Variety Research was dissolved in 1973, and Stein and Bill Eby formed the Midwest Oilseeds, which is still the soybean genetics licensing company of choice in the United States. Soon later, Stein would develop an interest in breeding corn, and so he formed Eden Enterprises in the early 1980s. It was at this point Stein began selling soybean seed under his own label, Stein Soybean Seeds. Business was booming, and Stein Seeds became one of the top 4 soybean seed companies in the United States in 1992, broadening their product range to selling corn and soft red winter wheat under the Stein label. Today, Stein Seed Company is the world's largest private seed company and the largest independent seed company in the US. It has more than 900 patents specializing in soybean and corn genetics, based in small town of Adel, Iowa, and is almost entirely owned by Harry Stein and his 4 children. Stein Seed's customers includes multinational companies such as Monsanto and Syngenta, who license corn and soybean genetics from Stein Seed Company. In 2014, Forbes estimated that the company was worth almost $3 billion with estimated sales of over $1 billion. Stein Seed Company has 15,000 acres of farmland in Iowa with nearly 400 employees in 16 states and 500 globally. Stein Seed have developed high-density corn varieties with shorted plants planted 8 to 12 inches apart rather than 42 inches apart when horses were used, allowing for average yields of up to 300 bushels per acre. All of this breeding of soybean and corn made Harry Stein a very wealthy man, and he is the richest man in the state of Iowa since 2015. As of 2023, Forbes estimates that Harry Stein is worth $9.1 billion. Even though Harry Stein is super wealthy, he isn't the type to show it. He still lives in a relatively modest house down the road from Stein Seed's headquarters and drives to work in his Ford F-150 pickup truck.